Democrat Senator, he's the leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, sounding the alarm on a new deadly drug being trafficked in the United States. Roll that tape, please.
Now we're seeing a new type of drug that's being mixed with fentanyl and other addictive services. And this is turning the opioid crisis into a nightmare. Xylazine. It's a deadly, skin-rotting zombie drug that's bringing a horrific wave of overdoses across the country and is spreading further. But Xylazine is even worse than fentanyl. And why? Because there's no antidote. Xylazine is deadly, it's dangerous, it's here. We have to act.
That's Xylazine. I want to bring in Nate Moellering. He joined now. Nate has recovered from fentanyl addiction. I want to know from you, Nate, have you seen this skin-rotting zombie Xylazine drug on the streets? Have you seen it?
Yes, Stuart, absolutely. We see it on a daily basis, really. It's pretty much mixed into the entire drug supply now. As you mentioned previously, there were over 100,000 overdose deaths last year.
But I'm interested in this Xylazine. I know you've seen fentanyl out there. You've recovered from. Are you seeing Xylazine? Have you seen it yourself?
Yeah, as I was saying, the reason this is becoming such a problem is because it's mixed into fentanyl. We're seeing these two together. And what is Xylazine? Xylazine is a sedative. It's an animal tranquilizer, and it is not approved by the FDA for human consumption. It's a central nervous system depressant. So when you mix it together with fentanyl, which is also a central nervous system depressant, you see people die of fatal overdoses at a much higher rate than we have previously. And it causes necrosis of the skin, which is the zombie part you're talking about. So when it's injected, it damages the tissue, the blood vessels, and so you get a skin rotting disease that takes hold, makes people look like zombies.
That's awful. Now, you recovered from fentanyl addiction. Tell us, please. I mean, not many people get off that addiction, as far as I know. How did you get off it?
Well, honestly, I have to contribute that to, people love me through it. By the grace of God, I recovered. But really, honestly, my community came around me and supported me, and I wanted to say, my home district, Congressman Jim Banks has really been supporting the recovery community advocates, which is really how I got off of it, People wrapped me in love, and they supported me, and that's really how we get people. That's how we solve this addiction crisis, is by loving people through it, and then also confronting the drug supply head on, which is what he's trying to do and what many other House Republicans are trying to do as well.
Did you go to rehab?
Yes, sir, I did. I went to an addiction treatment center, very similar to the one that I work at now, which is Allendale Treatment and Fort Wayne Recovery. And they taught me how to live life again without the use of substances, which is vitally important. Most people don't have a problem quitting. It's staying quit that's the hard part. And unfortunately, so many Americans today do not get the chance to recover because they're dying of fentanyl poisoning and xylazine poisoning.
So what was the cost of your rehab?
Well, for me, it was free.
Okay, what would it have cost if you were a paying customer? What did it cost the taxpayer? I'm not down on this. I simply want to know, how much is it going to cost if you want to get all fentanyl addicts, heaven knows how many hundreds of thousands there are, how much is it going to cost to get them off?
Well, it's probably millions of people, and that number I really don't know. I mean, per person, it can cost tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, if you just factor in the cost of direct care. But if you look at lost productivity from people that are passing away and people that are wrapped up in active addiction, usually it's accompanied by a mental health disorder, it costs us billions and billions of dollars, if not trillions per year.
But it's going to cost us an arm and a leg to fix it. Thanks very much for joining us, sir. We do appreciate your story. Come back soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.